Hello and welcome to Discovery Education Basics. Discovery Education is more than just an app where you can find videos. So let's look at some of the things we can find and do. First of all, to get to Discovery Education, you need to go through the Clever app. Go to Clever, look for the DE icon and click it. It'll bring you right in. On the top row, you have the navigation grid, sometimes called the hamburger. This is where you can get to a lot of things that you can get this way also. So just know that this is about the same as all the stuff at the top. The Discovery Education icon is always going to be your best bet to get back to where you need to be. If I come in here and I am into an image or a video or something else, and I want to get back to the main home page, just going up and clicking on the icon will get me right where I want to be. In the middle, we have a search bar. I can search for anything. So if I want to search for mitosis, it's going to bring up a lot of things. It's going to bring up a mitosis channel. Now, a channel is simply like a chapter or a collection of artifacts that Discovery Ed has put together. Some of the things out here may be in it or not. When I click on the channel, it'll open up the channel, and here are all the things, the resources that they've put together. And you can see most of them are video segments. Here's a full video and here's an image, a couple images. If I want to make sure that this is something I see a lot on my home page, right here is my channels. Now it will come in without the bookmark, so you just click it, that adds it to your channels. Mine was already in my channel. Don't worry about the grade level, that doesn't change so very much in here. Higher grade levels, which you're not going to really teach mitosis probably in second grade, it's just going to bring more things in. Still some video segments, an encyclopedia article, images, and a song. Wow. Don't ask me to sing. You'll regret it. I'm going to go back to my home page. And here are some images. So that's how I got this down here in my channels. You'll see I have mitosis right here in my channels. But if I have an image and I want it to be in here, that's different. So if I have an image or something else in here, let me come up here and put in mitosis again. And if I had a video segment, I can click on it to preview. If it's something I think I would like to use later, if I want to build it into a studio segment or anything else, I can come right here and add to quick list. Now there's a couple ways to save it. Think of it this way. The quick list is when you want to save it temporarily. Maybe you want it for a week or so, but you're not going to use it after that. Then you add it to the quick list. By doing it, I've just done it by clicking that. Right underneath that is Save to My Content. Think of this as your Discovery Education hard drive. By saving it in here, and when you click, you won't have all these folders, but I put everything into folders. I even have a cell division one, which is what mitosis is. I'm going to click Add. So that's if I want to keep it. I know I'll probably use it next semester and next year, so that's really nice, adding it to my content. So remember, one's temporary, one's probably more permanent. Moving on over, I have these two things, Open Quick List and Open Profile, have really combined into the same panel. So if I click on Open Quick List, you can see here are all my quick lists down here. I have 9 of them. And here is my video segment for mitosis. If there's something in here I think I won't want anymore, gosh, really not, but let's say I didn't want the one I just put in. I can click the 3 dots and I can say remove, but I think I'll leave it there. Up here at the top, this is your profile. What's the profile do? Well, if you are at more than one school, it will say your home school. Then you can click on this, the blue button, and it will say, hey, what other school are you at? And you can choose your other school. Why is that important? Because you want your student list to come in. Underneath that is View Profile. View Profile, there's really not a lot to do in here. The personalization, the first time you ever use Discovery Ed, it's going to ask you, what grades do you teach? What subjects are you interested in? And what interests? And this is how it helps populate your front page. That's the personalization part. The other one is activity and history. So you can come down here, and sometimes it will help you find things that you're looking for. Most of the time, though, not. The other part over here is your account settings. Really, there's not a lot to do here. If I go to edit, and it just tells you, you can first and last name, don't change any of this. And here's why. All of the things in here, including your password and everything, you don't need a password. Everything is set by Clever and our student information system. If you change this, there's a really good chance the sync is not going to work right. Okay? So don't change anything in the profile, except for the personalization. Okay, I'm going to click on my Discovery Education icon, and I'm back here in the front page. Here are all of my little icons over here. Now, what those icons are for, they all kind of have a name. You will not have the black one, that's the admin dashboard. You will start off with the purple ones, My Classroom and My Content. My Classrooms are where you're going to click and you're going to have all your classrooms come in. So I'm not a teacher that's rostered through, it'll be Tyler this year, Synergy next year. So nothing is going to come in here except the classes that I've actually created on my own. Now, if you are not a classroom teacher and you are an ELL or an intervention or a special education teacher of anything like that, can you create your own classes? Absolutely, you can. And I will give more content on that in another video. So the other part up here is My Content. That's where that hard drive in the sky is. Up here, here's My Content. If I want to add folders, I can. Here are all my folders. And you can see there are a lot of things I haven't put in a folder. So I've just dumped them out here because I didn't take the time to put them where I needed them to go. But for like coding, here are some different things under coding. Here's my science lessons. But look at this upload. I can always upload something from my computer. So it's not really important until you start creating studio boards. And in the studio board video, you might want to include something that you have found from a different source. And you do that through Upload My Content. The Actions button over here, if there's something I didn't want, I can move it. I can copy it, edit, delete it, or assign it. Okay? I generally do my assignments a different way, but I do use this to move. So if I have something in here that I want to move to a different folder, I click it and then I move it. I can also access my quick list from here. So by quick list, here are all my quick list items. And if I wanted to add this to something or assign it, I can. I can also share it with someone else. So this is actually kind of new. It didn't used to be here, but it's really nice that it's there. On over here, these three things are Quiz, Studio, and Assessment Builder. Now, Quiz is just a place where you create assessments for students, either typical assessments or video assessments. So on here, think about Edpuzzle. A video quiz is the same as what you do in Edpuzzle. It's just that it allows you to take a video from Discovery Education and embed questions in it. So I can start this video.
The second Monday in October celebrates Columbus Day, a day that remembers the arrival of Italian explorer Christopher Columbus to the...
So I'm just going to click add a new question, and because they just told us it's that the seconds into it. Teacher notes here, enable grading. So you notice this is short answer. I can also make it multiple choice. And so on. So just put my answers in. It'll put them, it will stop them right here and do it. Okay, I'm not actually going to do this because I don't actually want it. Leave. There are also quizzes that you can do, just regular quizzes, standard quizzes. Here's one on cells that I started and didn't finish. And I can actually create all of my own. So what is one difference between animal cells and plant cells? Once again, same thing, just without the video. Except I can do a short answer, a poll, multiple choice, multiple select, draw, annotate, or audio. So you have a lot of options here that you don't have maybe other places. You can give it point values. You can enable it for grading so that Discovery Ed grades it for you. Hard to do with a short answer though. So you can see this one. What cell has a cell wall? Would it be the animal, the plant, or the organism? Well, we know that plant cells have a cell wall. So you have to mark one correct if you want DE to grade it for you. Which statement is not correct? So all living things are made from cells, da 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 da. So, and you can add more. You can have as many answers as you like. Okay. I don't want to change that either. So that's kind of what quizzes are. Studio, we're going to get into the next one, as we will assessment builders. Assessments are more longer tests, and they kind of work well with Studio. Before I go into Explore and Standards and Education Supports, I want to go up and I want to look for the different kinds of content. So I'm just going to say cells. And so up here, I can actually put in the subject I want, though I don't generally do that. I will put my grade level in. And then underneath that, you can see different things you can choose. Once again, it's not just videos. So let's work our way through. We already know what a channel is. This is the cell channel. This is just a collection that DE has done for us. Here's a full video. What's the difference between a full video and a video segment? Well, a full video just means that this is all there is. Sometimes a full video, it's just a short little video, but this is 3 minutes, 24 seconds, and it's just all standalone right there. Sometimes a full video is made up of like 8 or 9 video segments. A full video in some cases would be way too long for a student to sit through, but you could take the segments and assign them. So this might be something I like. I can assign it right on here to my class and say, here it is, please complete this on your own, add a date. So I'm going to assign that for tomorrow. The due date will be Monday. Select my class, science class, all students selected, and assign. Done. That's how easy it is. So now I'm going to come over here and I want to show you a couple other things in here. Once I start this,
Hey,
and then I'm going to
it's
stop it. Because once you start it, more things show up. Down here next to the scrubber bar, you'll see that this 3 minutes 22 seconds left. 1x, that just means the speed. Sometimes if it's a foreign language one, I will slow it down a little because it's easier to understand. And you might play with that a little if you have kids that you think would benefit from that. Sometimes it's so slow that it takes away from the meaning. What I do use a lot is the little CC, because by default captions are off. Maybe I want captions on. I want them in English. Caption settings. I don't change the text background or window too much. I do play with the size. Okay? I always have sans serif. So I'm going to say done.
Did you know all
And you can
living
see,
things are made of...
here's my closed captioning. It's white text with a black background. Now, is this big enough? Because this is kind of a thing you have to play with. If you're playing this at the front of the room for a whole class discussion activity, then you need this bigger. And the way you go in and make it bigger is to go to your caption settings and font size. Maybe I want that 175. See, and it shows you right here. You don't want it so big that it overwhelms your picture and takes away from the quality of the video. But you need it bigger than that. If you don't like the background, here is where you change it. So maybe I wanted it white with black text. It's up to you. Okay? If I put it back down, maybe that's good enough for if they're watching it on their Chromebook. So play with it and decide how you want it. The other thing over here is picture in a picture, which means you can have it playing down here while you do other things. It's simple to close. And then the other one is full screen. Pretty much everybody understands that. Full details, assign, share. What would I be sharing? Well, through Google Classroom. That's what share is for. I can copy the link and do it myself, or I can click right here in Google Classroom. It will open up Google Classroom. It will find all of my classes, and then I can send it out exactly like that, which is nice. If you're a Google Classroom user, that is absolutely the easiest way to assign something. Now, I'm going to go on down. Actually, I think I'm going to go. I've got all selected. I want to look at interactives. So we have cell structure and function. That's an exploration. We have investigations. So let's look at this. Now, this is an interactive, and I love interactives. So it gives you an introduction. I'm not going to read it to you, but in this exploration, build the prokaryotic plant and animal cells by selecting the organelles and the specialized function they perform. So you read the directions and you start. So, what am I going to do? Well, you just kind of drag things over, as they go, and you build exactly what it says. So if I have a plant cell or bacteria or an animal cell, what does an animal cell have? Well, we know it doesn't have chloroplast, right? So would that be it? Yeah. You click it. Does a plant cell have flagella? Does it have ribosomes? It does. So you build that and a nucleus. So if you don't know what you're doing, I can check this and it looks okay. I can come up here and start the same thing with this. There's several of these under here. And here is another thing called the tracker. And so track the structure and function of various cell organelles. So this is nice. It's something that's interactive for the students to do. And if I like that, I can also build that into something else. I have to go in and select this again. That's the only bad part about clicking the DE thing rather than going back. You have to reselect what you were doing. 912. And then there's activities. This is a studio quiz. So if I wanted to come up here on viruses, this is a studio board. This is what you're going to learn how to build in the next video. That has all the different assessment pieces with it. Okay. Now, channels, images, text. I'm going to turn off activities. I only want text. So these are reading passages. They have PDFs. They have the others. Let's just say cells and their parts. And this is kind of an article that you can assign out that they can look at. Okay? So they can listen to it if they can't read. Other than that, it looks the same way. There are audios. Passages. Now, you're going to see a couple different things. You'll see audio, podcast, and then you'll also see a sound effect. So let's look at the audio file. The structure of cell plants.
In addition to the plasma membrane, the cells of plants are also surrounded by cell walls made of a complex carbohydrate called cellulose. The cell walls of plants give them structural rigidity. What?
Okay. Now I'm going to go back and let's compare this to a podcast. Okay, now we see a podcast. There's Discovery Files Light Switch. There's the Pack-a-Punch. Let's just look at this one. It's a quick little 1.5 minute one.
Big turn-off. I'm Bob Carson with the Discovery Files from the National Science Foundation. Fibroblast Growth Factor Receptor 1.
So what's the difference? What is the difference between an audio file and a podcast? Well, I can tell you that the answer is a podcast has a pretty picture for a title and the audio file does not. Other than that, they're exactly the same. Down here we have sound effects. I don't know why you'd want some of these sound effects, but or what they have to do, I mean, I guess it's a cell phone, that's why it brought it in. Or how you'd really use that, but that's okay. Then you have a song. Okay, enough of that. One of the things down here is it does have, here's the lyrics you can print out, and here's the teacher's guide. So you can take a look at that if that's something that you're actually interested in. There are also other materials. And that's more of a presentation. So Generation Health, DNA Decoded. Let's look at this one. And you're going to see that it is a PowerPoint type file of 25 slides. So it may be something that you want to use, that someone's put up with videos in. It's much like you can create in a studio board, but it was done in PowerPoint. So those are the different kinds of files that you can use. We will go back to the main page. And here I want to look, since we've searched for things, I want to look at the Explore feature. Now the Explore feature is kind of a new section for Discovery Ed. This is where they put all their new content. They show suggested content based on an algorithm of what you previously looked for, what you've marked down in your personalization that you teach, and by grade level. So we have that. So based on what I've looked at, it's looking at some different things, more of what you like. Then there are some Discovery Ed staff picks. These are things that a lot of times they've just put out and they're just presenting new content. Some of it's going to have absolutely nothing to do with what you're doing, but you know, it's there. Here's a Spelling Bees skill builder. So it's a little game you can play. You can play online or offline. Create a game and play. So it's a little interactive. Down here, a new channel for NFL Play. Down here, videos that may interest you or not. Lessons that may interest you or not. And then here are activities. I gotta say, these are pretty cool. So right now, May. These are for 3rd through 5th grade daily fix-its. They created these in Studio. And what you have here is a calendar. So if I click on today, which is May 11th, it's going to show with a page. Today is May 11th. This is what happened. Here's a little video about Salvador Dali. Here's a daily sentence fix-it. Here's the answer key, helpful hints, or you can go back home. They also have things like this, rather than just activities by the day or the sentence fixes it. It has more things like this that are calendars of activities for elementary students. So those are some things you might want to look at. Top news stories. So they have different things that match up with what's happening in the world today. It has the Social Emotional Learning Center down there that you can take a peek at. And look what we have at the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to just refresh all this. Polar bears. I did some things. Here's an audiobook that's kind of cool. But anyway, here's your little robot down here, Abuelo, that you can talk to, and he'll kind of help you out at times. There's also something up here at the top, ready to use activities, enhance your lesson with quiz, and best of interactives. This is where I find a lot of my interactives. Science interactives, math interactives, Spanish language interactives, social studies. Let's look at social studies. These are studio quizzes. Sometimes they're going to be investigations. This is one of my favorites, Jefferson versus Hamilton. Now with this, and this is an enduring debate, and we're going to have Jefferson dueling Hamilton about topics on how the powers of government should be distributed between the federal government and the states. So comes up with a dilemma, and then we talk about it. Jefferson believed that the states needed a strong central government in foreign relations, but that national matters were best left to individual states. Okay? Hamilton believed in the Constitution and the need for a centralized government, and as Secretary of the Treasury, he believed that the new nation should have a national mint to produce standardized currency as well as a national bank. All right, gives you a little background. And you know, if you have students that need the supports,
Alexander Hamilton.
it'll read to you. Now, so we're getting ready to go to the debate. Okay? You're going to have a series of issues. You're going to hear one side and then the other, and then you have to decide and give reasons who you believe or who you side with. America must have a centralized bank to establish the credit needed for industrial expansion. Here's what Jefferson's belief was. Okay? And they both have points. Especially, you know, you can look back and everything is 2020. So here's that. All right, close. Who are you going to vote with? Do you vote for Jefferson or do you vote for Hamilton? Well, let's see. I just saw the show Hamilton, so I'm going to go with him. So it's not enough that I chose to go with him. Now I have to write in here why I did. Okay, I'm going to go to the next issue. The states, not the federal government, should assume war debt from the Revolution. Jefferson believed that the states should pay for it. Hamilton believed that the central government should pay for it. Go with Hamilton again. The Constitution should include a bill to protect individuals' rights and limit the government's powers. So we have all things here, what he believes. He said, while I approve the Constitution, there was one piece missing. We need a bill protecting the rights of individuals. All right. And he said, no, we do not. All right. So who are you going to vote for? Well, I've gone with Hamilton twice. Let's go with Jefferson now. And I would put my stuff in. The debate has ended. Click next to view the results. And this kind of gives you an overview of it, plus historical notes. I can export this to PDF. I can submit this to my teacher. So you can see this is an interactive. So there are other interactives. There are also, up at the top of this, ready to use activities. That will save teachers a bunch of time. And here are the activity calendars that I were talking about. So here is May. Once again, this is done in the studio, which you'll learn how to do. Here's May 1st, and it gives you a social studies activity. May 2nd is an animal habitats. You don't have to use all of them, but you can look at them and think, today was Fix It Money, grades 1 and 2, learn about types and uses of money while practicing capitalization. Well, there's a combination for you. So, all these different things that you can do. All right, then plus as a bonus, you can check your understanding. Here's a board on Cinco de Mayo. So, take a peek at some of the things that you can look at. Back at this, you can look for anything by standards. So if I wanted to say, here are the standards, here's the grade levels, and this says history, government, and social studies. Model standards for computer science. So, and here are indeed all the CSTA standards. I wanted to come down here to the 2017 College and Career Ready. Here are my language arts. Here's my mathematics. So I can choose things. And it's going to come up with activities that support that standard. The last thing we're going to look at is educator supports. In educator supports, there's all sorts of things. There's getting started. So if you need a little bit more information about how you use Discovery Education in the classroom, here's a great place to look. For resources, here's a section. Hot topics, instructional strategies, So they have all these channels on like SOS, instructional strategies, key ideas and details, summarizing, comparing and contrast, inference and prediction. So if you're teaching this, you can come in and find some things like SOS is spotlight on strategies. So 3 truths, 1 lie. Can you guess my 214? Did you hear that? I spy. So take a peek at some of these. Even if you don't use them, it's kind of nice to see different things that you can actually put together on your own. There's professional learning, which you can come out here, and if you want to become a DIN star, this is kind of like a Discovery Ed master teacher. You can do that, and you get a few more resources, and you get a cool little acrylic star that you can put on your desk. But those are all things that you can do in here. There's also instructional leaders, which has some of the same kinds of things. But also over here is Equity Talks. This is a channel. And this is kind of some place where Discovery Ed has kind of become a leader, is on Equity Talks. So they have different ones in here. In fact, if you look, you're going to even find that our own superintendent, Dr. Anderson, has been featured on Equity Talks. So there's a lot of very well-known people in here, and it's interesting to go through and listen to them all. And we have one last piece to look at in Discovery Ed. If I go to the upper left corner, to the More button, the Open Global Navigation, the hamburger, whatever you want to call it, you're going to see curriculum packs. Not everybody's going to have the curriculum packs. All elementary and probably middle school will have Mystery Science, but for sure elementary. STEM Connect will only be at 3 locations, Jardine Elementary, Jardine Middle, and Williams. But everyone should have coding. Coding is a wonderful part of Discovery Education, and it starts with our littles in preschool because it starts with block coding at the very simplest level. It's set up with the learn, create, and do model, and it takes it very, very slow. And then we have the Python. I love the Python piece because when middle school, high school kids are ready to learn Python, it takes them through in the same easy fashion. So it makes Python pretty easy to start learning. Then we also have HTML. Part of the computer science class in the high schools is learning HTML and CSS. We already know some JavaScript. And on a web page, you have 3 parts. You have the HTML, which is really the content on a web page. Then you have CSS. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets. That is the formatting and how everything looks on your page. And then you have JavaScript. JavaScript are the behaviors that happen on your web page. So this will take you through HTML and CSS. So once again, it starts out with the learn, create, and go. It does have a glossary, so it takes you through all of the vocabulary. You actually assign things on here just like you do in anything else. So if I wanted to look at this lesson right now of tags and words, it's going to open it up, and I can review it. Or I can come right up here and assign it. I can also add it to my quick list. So it follows the same format as everything else. If you want to just take a peek at it, it starts out with a lesson video that you can watch. It's only 25 seconds.
In this lesson, we're going to learn how to make a very simple web page with some text. We will learn how to use hidden markers called tags to tell the browser how to format and display the text, making headings and paragraphs.
Now it starts out, and with an HTML tag, and you can just go through and do it. Here's the doc type. The doc type is what it all starts with. If you want to know what a doc type is, it does have a little video for you, or you don't have to watch it. The tags, it gives you a little video what a tag is, and there's an opening and a closing tag. You can see HTML is right after the header. It's where all the code fits inside too, and the closing one always has a slash. And then a P tag is a paragraph, which everything will be organized into paragraphs, and there's an angle bracket, P angle bracket, and then whatever text you want, and you can change that, and then angle bracket slash P angle bracket, and that's the closing. Everything has to be enclosed in quotes. So this is coding, and it's a great part of Discovery Ed. I hope you learned something, and if you want to know more about creating studio boards, we're going to have another video just for that. Any questions? My name is Gail Ramirez, and you can either give me a call at Bishop or you can shoot me an email.